if you don't plan your life will just pass you by. Let's talk about goal setting for 2021. Usually at the beginning of the year, I would sit down and write down all of the things that I wanted to accomplish and any projects that I wanted to work on. But this year I wanted to do a bullet journal because it's been a few years since I've actually done one, and I thought it would be a good way for me to write down all of the goals that I want to keep track of. So I'm going to walk you through everything I have set up in my journal so far, up to and including January.
So like I mentioned, this is my first bullet journal in a really long time. And this is the first time I'm using this type of journal, so hopefully it works well for me. It starts off with this contents page, but I'm not sure how much use I'll get out of it. And then I have my title page, which I plan on coloring in eventually, but for right now it's just blank. And then I started with a 2021 at a glance page, and this probably took me the longest time to fill out. I thought it would be useful because I can highlight all of the days I have off of work for holidays and vacation, and then over here I just added some holidays and some birthdays. One thing I wanted to make was the 101 things to do in 2021. A lot of these things are really simple and they're not monumental things. Some of my favorites are hanging a bird feeder, taking down the swing set in the backyard. We've lived in this house for 5 years and it just has been an eyesore because we don't have kids, and actually the neighbor kids come over and they play on it and we're always worried that they're going to get hurt and then we'll have a lawsuit. Some other favorites I have are making zucchini fries because we just got an air fryer, and then using a metal detector that we bought about 3 years ago when I lost a ring in the backyard and I still haven't found it. Then we're moving on to a really unique page, which is 31 times before 31 years. I'll be turning 31 this year, and I decided that I wanted to do 21 different things in 2021 that I will be doing 31 times before I turn 31 in December. A lot of these are really easy, like watching 31 documentaries and watching 31 horror movies, which are two genres I don't generally gravitate towards, so I added them to the list. I also have read 31 to be read books from my current library because I have, I think, 65 books that I haven't read that I've owned for a few years now. And then there are some more difficult ones like running 31 miles because I'm not a runner, eating at 31 new places because I always go to the same restaurants and the same fast food places. These are all just challenges that I wanted to kind of track as I go along through the year and making sure that I'm keeping myself accountable. And then on the right I have my wish list. Some of you might know that I am doing a no-buy for the first time this year, which means that I'm not spending money in certain categories. So anytime I come across something that falls in those categories that I want, I'll add it to this list. You can see that I've already added a few things like a cashmere sweater and a candle. Now we're heading into the book section. I'm part of a book club here locally, but I also joined a few book clubs online, so I'm not sure how many books I'll be reading this year for book club, but I wanted to keep them separate from my general reading log. So the first one we are reading this year is Where the Wild Ladies Are, and the title wouldn't fit in this book, so I just shortened it to Wild Ladies. And once I'm done reading that book, I will color it in to signify that I finished it. And on the right I have the to be read section, which are any books that are recommended to me, books that I want to read that have become movies, and I left these two blank so I could fill in at a later time because I couldn't think of anything to fill them in with now. This is my general reading log. Last year I actually read 75 books, so I thought 100 books was a achievable goal for me. I've already filled in the books that I've started reading for this year, and I think I'm going to be filling them in for what type of book they are, and by that I mean whether it's a paperback, an ebook, or an audiobook. And you can see that I've already finished Essentialism, which is a book that I highly recommend if you haven't read it yet. And on the right I have a bingo card for a subreddit I am part of, which is the fantasy subreddit, and we basically discuss different books that we're reading or recommendations that we have for each other. In March, I believe they will be releasing a new bingo card, and each square is filled in with a different genre or a different character trope, and I thought it would be an interesting way to read books that I would normally not gravitate to. So I won't be able to fill this in until a few months into the year. Then we have my year of 30-day challenges. I decided that this year, every month, I'm going to try and do a different 30-day challenge. I know that not every month has 30 days, but I figured it would be a good way to track them anyways. For some of these, I will have accompanying YouTube videos, like tracking my food every day, doing yoga, and meditating. But some of the other ones are just fun ones. This is also a really good way to challenge yourself to do things you normally wouldn't, or to do certain things that you want to track for 30 days. The layout on the left is called a Urine Pixels, which basically means that every single day of the year you'll fill in the corresponding box with the color of your emotion for that day. And I know that we feel different emotions throughout the day, but for me, I'm going to pick the one that stands out the most and fill it in as I go. So you can see that we're off to a good year. I'm a little disappointed that the purple and gray seem to look very similar, so I'll have to try and differentiate those a little bit more. And then on the right, I have my no spend rules for my no buy year this year. I've listed what's definitely not allowed, like new clothes, candles, makeup, and books. The reason I'm doing my no spend, and then this area I'm going to leave for anything that I empty. So any books that I finish or any makeup that ends up being finished, I'll end up putting here. And I will probably add up the total cost of these items that I empty to see how much product was just sitting around being wasted because I kept going out and buying new things. This is my 2-page spread for my word of the year and vision board. For this year, I am going to be focusing on my home, which is why hygge is the word of the year for me. It is a quality of coziness and comfortable conviviality that engenders a feeling of contentment or well-being. If you're interested in learning more about hygge and how you can incorporate hygge into your life, don't forget to check out my video on how to create a hygge home, which I'll link up here. These two are my yearly trackers, which I was really excited about. On the left, I have my YouTube subscribers, and we're so close to hitting 50 that I can color this in, so if you haven't already, please click that subscribe button, and don't forget to like this video if you found it useful. On the right, I have my weight tracker, and some of you might think that getting to 102 pounds is extreme, but you may not know that I am only 5 feet tall, and an acceptable weight range for my height is 97 pounds to 110. So my ultimate goal isn't to get down to 102, but it's within the acceptable range of where I can healthily be at. Those were all of my yearly spreads, and now we're getting into my monthly spreads. Something that I do differently is not including weekly spreads because I have an issue of not completing things on time, and sometimes things roll over from week to week, and I just don't like looking at blank pages in a journal, so I figured that I would only do spreads in my monthly section that I would fill out on a regular basis. I started off the month with a quote and the month, and this month I decided to go with a light bulb theme. And on the left we have a brain dump, which I haven't filled out yet, and this is basically the area that I'm going to put down everything that I need to do for the month or any projects that I plan on doing. On the right I have a page for any new vocabulary I come across while I'm reading. You can see that I've already added a few words. On the left I have a sleep tracker. Something I'm trying to do is make sure that I'm getting 8 hours of sleep every night, and I thought this would be a fun, colorful way that I could keep track to see which days I'm sleeping in on or which days I'm not getting enough sleep in. You can see on the third I actually had a little nap. On the right I'm going to keep track of all of the movies that Kyle and I watched together. These two are my favorite pages so far. I have a self-care bingo card on the left, and you can see I've already filled in my nap. And there are just some things in here that I really like doing, like having a caramel macchiato or doing a puzzle. Just little things that I really enjoy doing. And then on the right, I have a playlist for me to put any new songs that I discover while listening to Spotify. I already have 2 songs listed here in pencil that I have to go through with marker. And then for the last page, my monthlies, I have a gratitude log, and every day I'm just going to be filling in what I'm grateful for. And that's all I have set up for my planner so far. Let me know in the comments which page was your favorite and whether or not you have a bullet journal.
For me, keeping a bullet journal is more than just keeping track of everything that I do. It's keeping myself accountable for the things that I say that I'm going to do. And honestly, I found that if you don't plan your life will just pass you by. So even if it's as simple as just creating a self-care bingo sheet so you remember to take care of yourself, or a sleep tracker to track how many hours you're sleeping every day, a bullet journal can do a lot for you. Until next time, bye!